How's it going, everyone? This is Daniel, True Savage, representing the Sci Fi Society, and joining me for the first time, his debut on the Sci Fi Society slash True Savage Gaming channel, and that is a long time family friend, over 10, 15 years. Um, his father was very close to me, a great inspiration to me, a true friend, and it just brought our families. His father brought our families together, and I would like to introduce everyone who was watching to um, my channel for the first time, and that is Rob Z.
How's it going, Daniel? Thanks for having me on your channel.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for taking the time to come on my channel for your pretty much your debut. And this was in the back burner for a while, man. And like everyday life, people have to work, people have to do certain things, and especially now with the way the world is, man, nothing's cheap anymore, and people got to work twice as hard for sometimes even less. But anyways, everyone who was watching, this is volume 33 and gonna try to keep it going. Hopefully, make it by 40 before the middle of next year, which is 2027. But um, I'm so glad to have this conversation with my longtime friend Rob Z. And unfortunately, just due to some circumstances, I won't be. As people knew from, if they see my previous volume with Jedi Granville, volume 32, that won't be going to G Fest. For me, it just a lot of things um, just came up, and we all know that when certain things come up, physical issues, money, things don't always happen the way we want to, even though we plan for them. But Rob, my brother, I hope, man, at least you go one day, man. Go one day.
I'm
You've
gonna
got that,
try. We'll see if we can do that.
yeah,
But
you've
yeah,
got that pass. Get that friend of yours to go with you, man, and just do one day, man, and you won't regret it. It'll be totally worth it. But
yeah,
besides that, everyone, Rob Z, my brother, man. Our family's got a tight history, almost about close to 15, maybe a little bit more years, and we met through his father because we used to be neighbors, um, and we finally met, me and Rob Z, through his dad and his mother. Great individuals, great human beings, and we hit it off real quick. We had so much in common. Um, a lot of things were unexpected, and I have a list that I'm going to mention as we start um, volume 33. And yeah, man. Before we get to that, I just want to say, Rob Z, man, if you want to, just give us a little insight on what you do and what your interests are, and just to start it off.
yeah, for sure. That was a nice intro, and yeah, my past history has always been kind of a sci-fi nut, um, somewhat in my own world at times, but I'm kind of like sci-fi and technology, that kind of thing. That's kind of where I landed in my career as well. My official title is a media systems engineer, and I take care of all kinds of technology for media production at a university here in Chicago. And yeah, our past histories were different. I mean, you obviously you grew up in Texas. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, so completely different areas. But yeah, as we started talking to each other, we realized how much we did have in common, and I thought that was very insightful that we could be in two different parts of the country here, and then have almost like we knew each other without knowing each other. So that
Absolutely,
was
absolutely.
fun. But yeah, so my background right now is mostly in technology, so it's has a lot to do with media production. One of the things I do at the university is I maintain our virtual production stage. And on the virtual production stage, there's a large LED volume in which you can shoot a cinema camera towards that wall with actors in front to simulate a different environment. And the closest thing I would say that does this is if anybody's watched The Mandalorian, you know that they're clearly not on other planets, but it does seem like they are, and they are shooting on LED volumes, really large ones, much bigger than the one we have at our university, but the technology is the same. So
Wow.
I maintain all of the technology behind that. So we are running Unreal Engine to simulate the backgrounds that go to the LED wall, and I maintain all of the computer workstations that run all of the software needed to support the cinema uh, production there. So, and then I also work on the main campus with our cinema audio department where we do ADR replacement, Foley recording, that supports all the student films that get made there. So I maintain all the recording studios, the workstations that support that, and all of the editing suites that go along with those studios. So um, yeah, so it's been my world for a while, although previously to this position, I was an audio engineer. I worked at another college here in Chicago where we had recording studios, and I maintained all of the recording workstations for those, built the networks for the media server so that students can share digital assets between each other without needing hard drives and all that stuff. And we're going to do something similar in the university I'm at now as well. So it's a little full circle in some ways, but instead of being strictly audio, now I'm also in the cinema realm, which is fun. I've always kind of enjoyed cinema, but now it's a little bit more part of my career, so that's kind of cool. Um, and I have a good time learning about all this different stuff. It's some things are very similar, some things are very different. So, but I enjoy it, and I just kind of look back at my childhood and all the things I loved growing up, and it's kind of like led me to this point in my life here where I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm grateful for that, and grateful for finding friends like you that share similar interests. So yeah, that's mostly my background.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you guys heard it. I mean, look at that. I mean, I know he was in. I know you told me about you were into like a tech for audio and all that stuff, and for. But I don't think really asked or really asked like deep in detail about what you did as far as now working for the universities where you just mentioned you're working closely with about into film in the film realm, which is wow, dude. Like that's wow. What can you say, man? I mean, we all knew. I knew that you were freaking. You had a really good background in like what you do as a profession. But wow, man, like that's even better that you described everything in detail, and that's amazing, man.
Yeah,
It's amazing,
yeah,
and
it's fun. And honestly, if you come down to Chicago, I'm happy to show you some of the stages and stuff. It's really fun to see. It's kind of looking behind the curtain and seeing how cinema is actually created and made. So yeah, it's fun to learn about that stuff. So
no, absolutely, man. I see. I remember. I did get my refund back, and I do. And if I decide to, I can use the credit in before the end of. I have until the May until of next year. I have until
next
May
year,
until next year to use those credits to maybe that's something I can plan. A plan for like 4 days, and then you can show me the sites, what you do, how you do it, man, and you know that
absolutely, yeah, that'd be
that would
fun.
that'd
I
be
mean,
great.
and G Fest will be back next year too, right? So
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like I mean, you know what? That's true too. But like, I guess because how can I say it, man? I've I think I think when we talked about it last time, I'll mention it to myself. I think it's because I've already been to G Fest, and like G Fest isn't what it used to be. It's not what it used to be, and Walter can attest to this too. One of these days I'll get you guys on one video discussion, and he'll tell you that G Fest back in 2015 or 2014 was way different than it is now, man. Like
mhm.
that was the place to be. Everything kaiju, that was the place to be for everything Godzilla kaiju genres, Gamera, Gorgo, the the giant behemoth, all the legendary classics. Like he said, even the guests like were originally from the Toho franchise, Gamera franchise, Ultraman especially. And but nowadays
Yeah.
they don't get they don't get that star power no more. They don't have that relevance anymore. And
Yeah.
me, had I would have known about it, like I didn't find out about G Fest, man, until that's a good question. We'll talk about that too before I get to the four questions. I didn't find out about G Fest until 2018.
Yeah.
So, and you told me, and then when you told me that, man, I didn't know we had a G Fest. I lived in Chicago my whole life,
Yeah.
you know?
I had no clue. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't something I really seeked out, so,
Yeah.
if you're not looking for it, you tend not to find it, but yeah, when you brought it up, I was like, "Wow, really?" And, I did briefly go with you that, was it last year or the year before? And,
2023.
I was
Yeah.
shocked. I was shocked at how popular Godzilla still was, right? That kind
Yeah.
of, shocked me, especially from all the little kids, seeing all the
Hmm.
little kids, like, really getting into Godzilla. I was like, "This is so cool that I love that this genre and this character still has his star power and still has the interest in people." So, yeah, that was fun, yeah.
No, yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not what it used to be. I'm not bashing it. Like it's mostly what I learned is about. It's not just about the star guests that they bring in, or all of the panels they have, or the activities they have, the costume and what do you call it, cosplays. They have the parades, like they have when they have the the signings of the stars and the celebrities that show up. Like it's mostly about the people. It's mostly about the friends, the friendships you create, the friendships you make. People that if you're already a part of the community, then you meet everybody up at G Fest who decides to go or who can go. But now it's just a question of who wants to go and can they afford to go?
Yeah.
Can they take the time off to go? It's just very different. And me, unfortunately, I went very late, and that's when I went down in 2023, and I asked you, I'd say, hey man, I'm here in Chicago, hit me up. And that's where you just got a light taste of it, because it was
Right,
already,
yeah.
yeah, it was
It was like
already
a
later.
less than a day, maybe, a half a day or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, it was less, it was already in the evening, but yet we still found a few things to do in the evening. And
Mhm.
remember when we at the last minute we went to one of the rooms, the empty ballrooms, and they were showing the old school Gamera film, Gamma versus
Yeah, that's
Baru.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and me, you, and I think it was me, you, and a few other people had said, okay, let's watch it for a little bit. Let's see, let's. Some people tapped out. Me and you did tap out, but everybody else tapped out. We're like, we'll watch, we'll stay here a little bit, and then. But yeah, man,
It was
that
surprisingly pretty full, though. There was quite a few people watching,
yeah.
um, so it wasn't like a room from, empty people or anything. That it had a pretty good viewing considering the movies we were watching were from the '50s and '60s, so
No, no, absolutely, and that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. Like now that you have the you when you go, because when you go, all you got to do now that you registered, all you got to do is just go early, even the day, even maybe even the day before Thursday if you're not doing anything, or if it's a longer drive, go Friday in the morning about maybe 9 a.m., maybe be there 9 a.m., maybe 10. Go to registration, and they'll give you your badge. It'll have your name on it, and you'll be able to, you have full access to everything, man. And I implore you, try if you can, man, to go take a friend, man. Use my badge, bro. Remember what we talked about, and go in and see. You just need one day, man, and you'll probably more likely you'll meet Walter. You'll run into a bunch of other people you don't expect. Like even people that I ran into there, I made new friends. Like I made new friends with people. I should have got their numbers. I should have got their asked them if they were on Facebook, but that was my first time there, so I was more taking it in, and having Walter there. Walter was pretty much guiding me throughout everything. And
Mhm.
yeah, man, I really think you should go at least the one day, man, and you won't regret it, bro. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth the whole price of the weekend pass, man. And you have access to everything, even the stars that go there go and aim get a few autographs, man, pictures and everything, and you'd be like, hey man, I did G Fest one day, but that's all I needed.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely try to get there if I can, and I will say it's not the same when you're not there. You're kinda like, having a childhood friend with you that
Yeah,
shares
man.
shares the just the aura of the spectacle of the place, and, I tend to need that. I'm more of an introvert person, so I need
Mhm.
someone to be like, "Let's go check it out," and then I'll be more into it. Yeah, on my own, I'm definitely less outgoing for sure, so but yeah,
Yeah,
I'll see if I can get there. I do know one friend that might be interested, so we'll see if
yeah,
I can wrangle them
yeah.
to go with me,
Yeah,
but
yeah, and then
yeah.
like I said, I can connect you with Walt, man, and I can even connect you with Walt, and he can be like, yeah, man, hang out. You want to hang out with me, man, and just for the day, and you'll meet a whole bunch of other people because Walter knows everyone, bro. You'll
That's cool.
you'll you'll meet a whole bunch of new people, man. I'm just saying because it's an experience for you, and I feel like I said, I know I shouldn't, but I still feel like I should have tried to have gone, but my issues that I'm going through, man, are just they're
Nah,
very very.
you gotta focus on your own health.
Yeah, man, and even when I went with my sister last, I went with my sister 2 weeks ago. I went with her just for 4 days, man, and it's with family, so it's easy for me to lose the train of thought of what I'm going through. But then I'm like, man, when I came back, I'm like, okay, back to the same old thing. But yeah, man, but I will. I even if it's not G Fest, man, I can try to go there. I could try to go there on my own, and not have to worry about not have to worry about a freaking $600 freaking 2 day stay at a freaking
Yeah, that
top
was pretty
hotel.
pricey. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's just
to go back what you were saying about, like, how it seems like it's scaled back, I think that's going across the board. Like, I go to some technology conventions for my job, and a lot of those conventions, it's the same thing. It's like it's just not what they used to be kinda thing.
yeah,
It's still there, it's still overall the same experience, but it just there's so much less of just spectacles around that you could focus on, where it's just more nitty gritty. And I'm assuming maybe that's what's happening with G Fest. And I'm sure it has to do with costs and all that kind of stuff. And so it's to be understood, but might be just be a lull period where maybe in another couple years it'll kind of have a resurgence and come back. I like to hope so anyway. So I hate to see these things go away because they are really fun to have to go and spend time with people that share those interests. So yeah,
yeah, no, absolutely. But at least in 2023, man, we hung out, and you got that taste of it. But you got that taste of it, and you saw like, wow, like this is so crazy. Like even your mind was kind of like, wow, mind blown, man. Like they have all this stuff. Like when you saw the giant statue, you're like, what? You were like,
yeah,
this is, yeah, that's me. Even me, that was my first time there, so I'm good at taking first time stuff. But like
mm,
as far as that goes, like I'm I'm just I'm a little bit overstimulated with Godzilla as far as maybe like doing all of those going to the conventions and stuff. But it's also to get that that part done with. It's like I also, and the genre is that I went to Japan in 2024 the following year. So I went
yeah,
to G Fest 2023, and the next year back to back I went to Tokyo, Japan, and I went. That was like that's not the top of the mountain, bro, of Godzilla, of the Godzilla fandom and the genre, bro. I don't know what is. And
yeah, absolutely. Because part of it too is the culture. You get to experience the Japanese culture and kind of see how they see the character as well, right? Because Western countries don't always look at the same type of character in the same way that other countries might. And obviously, it originated in Japan and for very specific reasons. And you got to see that side of it, I think, and that was cool. I mean, you went to the Toho Studios and everything, didn't you?
that was me and Walt talked about that too. Man, you if you're a Godzilla fan, that's the top of Mount Fuji, and if you take it's I think it's become like kind of a thing where if if you go to Toho Studios, you have to take a picture with the statue in front of it. And when I
Yeah,
did that, yeah, when I did that, that was absolute closure for me. That was full closure, but also trying to keep my emotions in check and not lose my emotions, and because I was this close to breaking down, dude. I was that close to breaking down, and it's a it's a childhood. If anybody who would experience it as a real true Godzilla fan, me being a Godzilla fan since I was 4 years old, it's something that it's more. It was just like Biggie Smalls in his song, man. It was all a dream. It's like, and then but it became a reality. And once it's a reality, that's when, you know on the like that's when you know that you did it. That's when you know I finally did it. And that's you don't get much of a high, man. That kind of a high, man. Alcohol, drugs, or even women, bro, don't never gave me. And it's just it's such a great feeling of accomplishment. And I'm saying, like I said, I say this with humility and respect and humbleness, man, that I was able to do that. And it's a totally different, it's a totally different feeling once you do it. Because when you're on just to make it quick, on my way back, on my drive back, because it's about a good 45 minutes away from where I was staying in Koto City. I was staying in the Koto district, and it was about close to 45 minutes, and that cab ride cost me almost close to $300. So
Yeah.
I was like, man, but it's so worth it, bro. I didn't even that the money didn't mean nothing, man. The money didn't mean nothing. Getting there was the main goal. And then once I got back, man, once I got back, hooked up with a beautiful Japanese girl, and that's all she wrote. But no, but also, man, I wanted to say that, just to mention that you also are of Asian descent.
Yeah, so I am actually half Japanese.
Huh?
A lot of people would not guess it, but yeah, my
Mhm,
mom is Japanese. She's from Okinawa, Japan. So
mhm.
I've had several trips to Japan as well, and yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's always a bit of culture shock when you go to a different country, especially Asian countries, because it is quite a bit of a different culture, right? Definitely see things differently, and I'm sure once you got back, you kind of saw everything else differently, right? It changes your perspective on just
Absolutely.
everything, right? And it doesn't even have to be an Asian country, right? You could see, other countries that you've not visited yet in a different light and be like, I wanna go check that country out now," right? It's kind of addictive. People who travel, abroad kinda know that feeling of, like, it's like, it's almost like exploration, You're finding out these new things and how people see and do things that are different from how we do it, and, I think everyone should, travel outside the country and experience that. These days, it's really hard, obviously, our political situations put stress on those kind of things, but hopefully, we'll see things, come back and, travel will be, more open again, and I hope that a lot of people take advantage of that because I do think it really opens your eyes to the world. And and in your case, not only did you get to experience the culture of Japan, but you got to look at basically a childhood hero of yours and kind of see where it all started. And yeah, that is a full circle moment when you're like, wow, this is where it all originated, right? So I share that with you. I know that feeling. All my trips to Japan were not around anything to do with Godzilla. Obviously, it was more family oriented and
Yeah. Yeah.
learning about my family history there and stuff, which also was really fun. Um, but yeah, maybe one of these days I'll have to maybe take a tailored trip there and more focus on maybe some of the pop culture things that I like from Japan. Because honestly, a lot of them did kind of influenced me as I was growing up as well. I mean, I started out with Godzilla, like you said, like probably around 4 or 5 years old. It was probably like the mid '70s when I was watching Godzilla. And at the time, back then, knowledge of Asian cultures was very limited. Most people had no clue. And so a lot of the friends I grew up with didn't didn't know what Godzilla was, weren't really necessarily into it. But a few of them, when they were hanging out with me, I would just one of the movies might come on and be, "Oh, we should watch this," and they'd be like, "What is it?" And then and then their eyes get big as saucers going, "What is this?" And I'm like, "This is Godzilla, man." Yeah,
Yeah,
this is what I've been
yeah,
watching, you know?
yeah.
And I got a couple of them hooked on it. I don't know, I haven't lost touch with those guys, but I don't know if they're still into it, but I know at the time, it was fun, like, watching my friends get into it 'cause, they kinda saw it the same way I did. We're like, "Wow, this is how big is this creature? Like, oh my god." Yeah, and it was so much fun, to kinda see it, and it's been wild to see how that character has stayed the same and also changed over time, and so how Hollywood tried to get a hold of it, but never quite did, and, yeah, and yet it still has resurgence, right? It's still going strong, so, yeah, so that was fun, and so, yeah, like I said, maybe at some point I will try and, get over there and visit the Toho Studios like you did and see it from that perspective, so
Are you? It's not a matter of if. It's just a matter of when, man. And
yeah,
if anybody has a drive, and I'll just say this: if you have a drive like the way me and Robert, I mean, Robert's already been there, but due to his family's roots, and your mom, Kiyosama, Kiyosama. She is she's an amazing individual, great mother, amazing cook. Her fried rice is legendary. I'll just say that. But yeah, it's even more for you a connection because of your ancestry and everything. And I had to learn Japanese at least 70 since we're already in the in the realm of Godzilla and everything. Like, we might as well just talk about it. It was one of the questions, but we'll just talk about it now and then get to the other three.
yeah,
Yeah, like Godzilla, man. Like, I had to, when I went there, I wanted to respect your I wanted to respect your culture that much, that I learned about 60, 70% general conversation in Japanese. So it's like my Japanese has gotten bad since then, because in 2024 I
thank
was at
you.
the top, man. But it's
Yeah,
pretty bad. But yeah, it added less stress and less anxiety, and they show more respect for you. They showed me a lot more respect when I was speaking in their language and
of course,
respecting their
yeah,
customs. And when I was in the ramen shop eating ramen right there in the Koto district, man, and it's like they weren't even staring at me. Usually they know they look at me and come on, they know I'm a foreigner. They know I'm a gaijin. So they know I'm a foreigner. But when I'm there eating and slurping, using my chopsticks and slurping like they are, it's like they didn't even pay attention. They're like, oh, he's just one of us. He's eating like the way we are. He's speaking Japanese. He's saying thank you and he's saying delicious in Japanese. Eating and drinking the whole thing, and then respecting it and everything, putting the chopsticks on top, and then saying, oh, and then saying, itadakimasu, and then saying, oashi, thank you. And they hear that. And then I didn't even have to respond. When I said oashi, which means delicious in Japanese, they say, arigato gozaimasu. And it's a beautiful country, man. And it was a, and of course you don't want to I didn't want to make it all about Godzilla, so I went to the Kamaido Tenshin Shrine. I went to the Kamaido Tenshin Shrine, which is about maybe 15-25 minutes away from my about from 30 minutes from my hotel, and then walked halfway, took a bus the rest of the way, and then used the subway over there, went to Shinjuku, went to the Hotel Gracery, went to the Godzilla statue. Where it's funny how right when I got there, for some reason, right when I got there, I wasn't even keeping track of time. Right when I got there, the 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 statue lit up and the Godzilla march started, and I'm like,
cool.
"Wow, what?"
Just for you.
I'm like, "What?" I'm like, is God guiding me this way? Like, is it like seriously? That's what I thought. And but the thing is, I lost track because I didn't charge. I should have charged my phone sooner. So I was in Shinjuku for about 30 minutes, and then saw a lot of what I saw. No, 30-40 minutes. Did see a lot of the what you see in the red light district in Kabukicho and all that. And I was like, wow, this is just, I'm here. But then, and then my battery says, oh, you're at 25% battery. Like, oh no. And I'm using the Google Maps. So I had to go back to the station, walk 30 minutes to the station. I got lost once, I got back on the right train, finally went back to my hotel. My district, mine was in the Toyo district. And I was like, it was the Toyo line. where I was staying at, so I had to get that line, and it's pretty simple, but it is intimidating. The subway system is insane over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. But Godzilla, I didn't want to make it too much about Godzilla, so I went to the Sky Tree, which is holy crap, bro. I went to the Sky Tree. That was crazy, man. And I didn't even know there's a mini mall right underneath it.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and then I went to, of course, I went to Shibuya. I went to the Hachiko memorial statue, took a picture, went to the Shibuya Scramble, and took a part of that, took video. I don't know if you've seen that on the video. On the video I
You'll have to
have.
show me some of the stuff you took. I don't think I ever really got to see many of the pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I have the whole video on. I have the whole video on my channel.
Oh,
And
nice. I have to look it
yeah,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I hooked it up, and dude, it's just amazing, man. But anyway, like I said, we'll get back to you, man. It's about you, bro. It's not about me. Like, anybody can go back to that and look at it and look it up. But as far as we go, Godzilla, man, Godzilla is just was a big part of my life, big part of your life. Like you said, you showed friends. I felt I was the only Godzilla fan, but I was still showing, people who didn't know about Godzilla. Like I had a few cousins who really liked Godzilla, but not all of them did. But now they know
Yeah.
about it because he's so mainstream now. Because
Sure.
he's literally a cultural icon.
Yeah.
And and he's
Well, most of Asian culture now has come to more of a centralized view for people because, like you said, back in the day, most people never really knew or paid attention to these types of things. So um, uh, that's why it was hard for me to like show my friends at the time when we were younger because it just didn't resonate with them. And like I said, a few of them did, and but as time went on, it did grow. Like certainly by the '80s, Godzilla was way more known in Western culture, um, and it just kind of slowly, steadily grew in popularity. I think so. Um, so now you say Godzilla and people know who you're talking about.
yeah,
They're not scratching their head like, "What is that?" But back in the day when you and I were first watching it, it wasn't that way. So
sorry.
it was very yeah, no worries. Uh, it felt like you were doing something underground in some ways because not a lot of people knew about it. But obviously the early Godzillas were very campy and stuff like that. So a lot of like Western culture would not even really pay attention to it because it seems silly. But once you get into the lore of Godzilla and what it's about, it sort of draws you in. And in my opinion, at least from my perspective, growing up in the '70s and '80s, I think Godzilla is like the first anti-hero that I ever kind of knew about. And he was obviously a destructive force, but also kind of protected the Earth from these other kaiju that were coming in and trying to cause destruction. Um, and so always thought that was what a weird character, right? You're afraid of this character, but you're also rooting for this character, which
Yeah.
as a kid I was like, this is wild. I don't know of any other character that's like this. You know what I mean? So I mean, I guess you could argue the Hulk, but
Yeah.
the Godzilla was such on a different scale back then that it was just like there's no comparison. Um, and yeah, it's cool to see it still thriving today. So.
Yeah, and then before we move on to the next subject on that, let's talk about okay, we already know, anybody who knows on my channel is like, I'm a Godzilla fan. I started as a kaiju tuber, YouTuber, but as soon as I realized that a lot of those kaiju tubers um have a they not one dimensional, but they stick to one thing. Then when they talk about another genre, they're like, nobody wants to be. Why are you talking about that? So after about 2 months, I said, no, you know what? I'm gonna start adding anime. I'm gonna start adding superheroes, Marvel, Image, Spawn, Violator, uh, horror movies, sci-fi horror, action, drama. Like I said, I went from being from one. I went from one um, series to now I got three, and I got a new one coming up. I already have Consensus. Consensus was the second one. That's more for martial arts, drama, and action. And then We have True Savage Gaming, which I started with because I started getting back into the gaming flow. And I do that usually with my other good friend Jose Betran Hoserman X Primo. And then now I'm starting this new one called Cyberpunk Central, but it's not Cyberpunk Central with a C, it's with an S. You know,
Gotcha.
so it's like a Cyberpunk Central, which I will get. I'll show you. I think I'll send you some films that I got in the mix of what I want to talk about, and maybe you want to be a part of them. And they're they're the Terminator, the first one, 1984, Blade Runner, I think it's 1982, and I think I'm gonna get with I'm actually gonna add Ghost in the Shell, the original anime from I think
Yeah.
1997 or 96, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
add that. So maybe let me know, man, if you want to be a part of those. Like I can definitely have you. But as far okay, now back to Godzilla before we finish. Everybody
Mhm.
knows the history of Godzilla. It's been on my channel. We talked about that. You just mentioned a lot about the history and the lore of Godzilla. Now you want to talk about before we get to the next subject, minus zero
Yeah.
and what
Well,
you.
I don't know how much to say about it yet. I
That's
have
very little.
actually purposely kind of kept myself away from all of the
Trailers and spoilers.
trailers and all that. I'm one of those people where I want to go into a movie cold. I don't want to have a trailer in my head or any image. I like to see it. I want it to hit me in the moment, and I feel like that's much more of a mental high when you see, especially if it's good, right? And you're
Yeah,
just like, wow, you're just knocked off your socks. Like if I watch a trailer, I remember it, and once it's in my brain, and then I go see the movie for real, and I'm like, oh, this is I saw this part already. You know what I mean? So it just takes a level of it down for me. So if I really want to see a movie, I don't watch the trailers. I don't read many articles about it because, just generic stuff like, do people think it's going to be good or bad? But I don't go into any details because I don't want it to spoil it for me. So minus zero is one of them. I did the same thing with minus one and was blown away, right? Like that's what like to me that was like this is amazing. What an amazing job they did, especially when you factor in the budget that they used. In fact, I don't even know how they did it, right? You look at these mainstream Hollywood movies now, they cost, 200, 300 million, and they look okay. You're like, yeah, it's fine. It's good enough. But then you see minus one and you're like, wait, how much did this cost them to make? Because it looks amazing. Like this is great. So I'm very curious to see what minus zero is going to give us because if it's just more the same and maybe they refined it, made it better, I'm going to be so happy with it. I think so. And I don't like to get my hopes up with movies a lot these days because I tend to get let down. Um, but I'm kind of hoping that Godzilla minus zero um, will deliver the way I want it to. So
yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely, man. And I agree. And minus one was unexpectedly amazing, and it was great. It was great, and yeah, and then it's totally amazing and beautiful, and just chef's kiss, man. It was so good, and I'm glad like how Japan did that, how Japan was with it, how they were conservative about the budget, and yet they still did it and put so much passion into that project. And yeah, man, I can't wait, man. I'm
it
kind of
really
like.
felt. I mean, it really felt like a Godzilla film, right? Like this is like a Toho Studios Godzilla film. That's how it felt. I think the 2014 Godzilla was pretty good. I thought those Western Godzilla movies were good up until what was it? Right after King of the Monsters.
Yeah,
And then it got kind of cartoony and superhero-y the way they did the later films there. I wasn't as interested in those, but like the early ones, I thought up until that point was probably one of the better Godzilla movies that came out, 2014 one. But minus one to me just took the cake. I was like, now this is the one. So now we'll see what minus zero has in store for us. Like I said, I don't anticipate movies too much anymore, but this one I am. I'm kind of hoping it's gonna make something happen for us. So. We'll have to wait and see.
No, no, absolutely, man. And yeah. So that was our input for Godzilla. Now to the next one, man. To the first question. We already talked about Godzilla. That was pretty much the last, but we're talking about the first one. How me and you hit it off with the Ultimate Fighting Championship back when it
Mm.
was relevant and when it was good. Um,
Mm.
Back in when we met, it was close to about what 2009, no 2010 maybe.
I
And
would say no, I would say 2009. I think my folks moved down to El Paso in 2008,
yeah,
and then I think we probably moved. Yeah, so I know you knew we were talking with my dad for several months before. I mean, because I couldn't get down there all that often. I was still
yeah,
living up here in Chicago, so
yeah,
uh, but I knew I mean he was mentioning your name, so I knew you were coming over and doing visiting with them. I just
yeah,
didn't have a face to the name at the time, but I forget what happened. I think you just came over for something. I don't remember what it was.
yeah.
Um,
I
but and at the time, what I was doing was I was kind of bootlegging the UFC fights, so I'd record them or I would download them
mhm.
and then just bring them with me, and then I'd watch them when I was down there. And I think I was watching one of the downloaded UFC fights that I have had when you came over, and you kind of did a huh? You're watching UFC? I was like,
Yeah,
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 man. I downloaded it, and then you launched into like this whole like history of UFC kind of stuff, and then all of your favorite fighters, and we shared a love of several of the early fighters together, and we kind of locked in onto that. And we're talking about we can't wait for this fight coming up, and this, that, and the other, and yeah, we talked for hours about this start of the UFC and kind of how it started. So different now, unfortunately. I feel like it absolutely jumped the shark, and now it's not. I don't even really enjoy watching it much anymore. I usually watch one championship or mostly one championship at this point. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, that was a spark, I think, for our friendship when we first met is was UFC. So
Yeah, and it's funny because I was already teaching and training for a while already in MMA, and you had actually there was a time where remember we had a fight here in my house. No, it was New Year's, and you met my teacher, my trainer, my jujitsu
oh,
coach.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
yeah, my jujitsu coach because we had New Year's something small. I told me let's something small. My family, you, you were staying there at the with your family at the time and back and forth, and then we would kind of move it back and forth. Oh, let's go over here with Robert. Now let's do it over here. We're watching one of the fights. We're just watching. I think we were watching old school fights, and
That
then.
sounds right. Yeah.
And I told my trainer, hey bro, let's just stay at my house, man. We're gonna be drinking all night, partying all night. So yeah, so you met him and you got the gist of man, Daniel's really serious about his training, and it was brutal training, man. And I was actually getting ready. It was 2 years later, I was getting ready for my match in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I was gonna fight for this fighting organization, smaller organization called Southwest Brawl, and unfortunately, my body fell apart, before I made it. But I did do the whole weight cut. That was horrible. But yeah, talked about Vitor Belfort, who was my favorite fighter at the time, and we
Right.
talked about other great fighters, Robbie Lawler, Tito Ortiz. Not a big fan, but I admired his training methods and the way he coached. And we still had George St. Pierre, John
Yeah.
Jones was really getting on the scene. It was going off of the UFC, Stephen Bonner on Forrest Griffin fight, and then we still had other great fighters like Thiago Alves, and then we had lightweight division, Sean Shirk, BJ Penn, and
Yeah, that was a good one.
all the good, all the stuff, all the fights, man. That was the literally from the early 2000s to maybe the late 2010s was the golden era of the UFC, and
Yeah.
me being a part of it, me being a part of that culture and training, teaching, boxing, all of that stuff. Like it's something I love, man. You know how much passion I poured into that, man, and I gave a lot of my body and soul to that. But it's like, but like you said, it was a fact that I didn't know you were a fan, and then I was a fan actually practicing. I was a practitioner. I was a competitor. I was a teacher. I was an instructor. I had got my blue belt in jiu-jitsu already at that time. So it was yeah, man, it was me and you hit it off really quick with that, man. And then on top of Godzilla, and then on top of your Japanese heritage, on top of your great family, your mom, your dad, your sister, you know, her family and everything. It was so crazy, man, that we hit it off. And some of the fights I think it ran when Rampage, I think when Rampage fought, Rampage had just lost to John Jones around that era, around that.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then me and you hit it off, and me and you were big Vitor Belfort fans. You know, I followed his career since the beginning. The first time I watched UFC when I was 13 years old, and you know he was my inspiration. Yeah, you know, we did a lot of fighters did, you know, a lot of things they shouldn't have done, man. But what can you expect, man? You want longevity in the fight game like that. You had to cut corners at one point. And we talked about this the last time we talked, but you know, to get your take on how you like how, you know, the UFC was, you know, for a bit of your take on it. Like I know how I enjoyed it because I saw it since the beginning, since it was just a spectacle, and then when it got more mainstream before it got bought out by Zuffa, and then it really started to expand. Still not embraced like it is now. More watered. I think to me it's just more watered down. I don't care what anybody says. It's watered down. I've been following UFC since the old days. Me and you are OGs on this, man. So, but
Yeah, I mean, and that was part of our backgrounds. Like you were doing well. So when I met you, you were kind of getting into the MMA scene.
yeah,
As far as for me, I mean, I trained in martial arts
hmm,
like that right around 8th grade, all
yeah,
the way up until my mid 20s,
yeah,
and so I was already familiar with the training and
hmm,
um, the sparring and things like that. We would do full contact sparring and things, and it was interesting because we had different. My cousin was my sensei, and he was
yeah,
the one that
yeah,
taught all me and a group of people, essentially out of his basement for a while.
hmm,
And
hmm,
so there was all different kinds of people. There was some pretty big dudes, other guys my size, and things like. But when we would spar, it was whoever's there, whoever showed up that night is who you're going to spar with. And so
right,
I'm sparring
right,
with some guys that are like 250 pounds. And so it was like, I had to be on my game because they could literally knock my block off. And so I had to rely on speed and cunning kind of thing
so,
to
yeah,
get me out of
yeah,
these scenarios. So and I did that for a long time. And it would, when you train like that, it becomes like really part of who you are.
yeah, yeah,
Like you sleep at night and you think about it. And there's that scene in what is it, Kill Bill, where um, Beatrix Kiddo is getting trained by the kung fu master, and she's sleeping at night, and she just instinctively punches and hits the wall. I remember doing the exact same thing. I was sleeping. I think I was dreaming about something, and I literally just whack. I just punched the wall, and it woke me up. And I'm like, "What the hell did I just do?" And I'm like, "I just punched the wall. Why did I do that?" So it just
yeah,
becomes part of how you think. So when I started seeing the early UFC, I was like, "Oh, that's so interesting," because I feel like I kinda know how that feels already. Like, I feel almost part of it without being part of it. But yeah, you right, like you said, when Zuffa bought them out, is when it started hitting the mainstream, and right at that point is when I was kinda coming out of MMA. I was starting to do more professional work in audio and things like that, so I was kinda moving away from that, but you were kinda starting with it, and so we kinda met in that crossover period. And yeah, we had a lot of like similar takes on fighters and fighting styles and what would make a good fight. Now that we would always talk about those scenarios, like, well, what if this person against that person, or what if this style against this style.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think a lot of people had those conversations in the beginning, and that's what made it such a fun sport to follow in the beginning. But yeah, I think these days it's become like boxing in some ways, where you just feel like these some of these fights just seem like they're already staged. You're like, what is this? Like, this doesn't have the crazy excitement that I mean, there were some crazy battles in the early days
yeah,
where you
yeah,
just like, who the heck is going to win this? They're going back and forth, and you're like jumping out of your seat, and then you're sitting back down because you think your fighter's going to lose, and then all of a sudden they come back, and you're just like, what is going on? Yeah, and you just don't see much of that kind of excitement anymore. And I think partly it's because the fighters are afraid to get hurt now. You know,
Yeah,
they know
yeah,
they get hurt, it's on them, and that might be the end of their career if they get hurt bad enough, right? So they're kind of fighting defensively that way. You know, they don't want to get themselves in a scenario where they're going to have long term damage, and I can't blame them because if the organization's not going to support them and help them through these physical, damages that they take, then why should they take the chance, But that also affects the quality of the fight now. So, and I think that just we're seeing that now. We're seeing how that changes how the fights look and feel. And so it's a little bit sad to see it go, but like I said, there's other organizations out there doing it. I think one championship does it right. They're still got that type of excitement in their fights. I've saw some crazy battles with one championship fights. I mean, Mighty Mouse is over there, and he's had some crazy back and forth, like really really good fights that you're just like, this is what I missed in the recent UFCs. So I'd love for people to go check out one championship and give them some love because I feel like they're still doing it right these days. So.
yeah. No, no, exactly. And you're right, man. Like I said, it's to me, it's like I mean, for me, it's because it was the MMA and teaching and competing and being a coach was my life. Like that was my. We talked about it too. That was my life. So I lived it, breathed it. You know, wake up, train, eat, sleep, shit, train.
Hmm.
That's what it was.
Yep.
And sometimes I don't. That's why not only do I am I not interested in it because it's just not the way it used to be, and that's this goes for boxing, kickboxing, MMA in general. One FC like that. I have to watch more of that, but Bellator was still around. Some of the good fights there, but it's like to me, if I watch any of that, I'm going back down. I feel like I'm going back down the rabbit hole, and
Yeah, it could be
yeah,
true.
and I'm like I can't go. I already know I can't, because I'm in my situation. Like I can't do it, and it's we get older. We're older now, and when we were able to train back then, it was like nothing. But now, we just walk different, or we freaking bang our big toe, or we freaking bump into something. It's like we're freaking pain for days. I mean, I'm just over exaggerating, but it's like yeah, it's just for me, it's more of a rabbit hole that I just don't want to go back down because
Yeah, it's understood.
it just brings back that oh, you know what, Daniel, maybe you can do it one more time. Like
The
no,
burning fire. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I know what you mean. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it's same for me. I know I can't do that training like I used to, but I miss it a little bit. But it's also the people. You got to have the right people around you.
hmm
Get if you have good training partners, it does keep things cleaner. When you got crappier, you know, not caring, you know, training partners, that almost becomes adversarial, and then it's just like this is not helpful for getting better. It's just you're just getting into fights for whatever stupid reason.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I still appreciate it. I mean, UFC's whatever. I can live without it these days. I look at other stuff, but I mean, that was also part of my childhood too, right? I grew up watching all the kung fu movies
oh
and all
yeah,
the action movies in the '80s, and all those things that kind of influence that kind of train of thought with that. And so it's something I always appreciate. It's one of those things where you see really good action fights or whatever, and you appreciate it because you're like, wow, that was really well done. And then you see really bad ones because you know what works and what doesn't work. And so when you see a movie or TV show that does something really silly, that you just shake your head like that is just ridiculousness that would never work. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that appreciation there, it's still with me. I like it, and when I see a good choreographed fight in any type of media, I applaud it and say, hey, you guys did a great job of keeping it more realistic, but also fun, right? So,
absolutely,
um,
absolutely. No, but I'll say this. Yeah, man. It was great. Our inspirations: Bruce Lee, Van Damme, Chuck Norris. All the old school greats. The old school movies and everything. Were part of it. But aside from that, man, like I'm glad that brought us together as as closer friends, man. And especially in the family, everybody, oh my god, like Daniel, like he knows this, he knows that, and oh, and he loves this now, he loves this and loves that. Now we're gonna get to, so I don't keep it, I don't keep you on too long, much longer. We'll get to um Marvel comics, Marvel superheroes, and that's another thing that hit us off. Now you're like, okay, now he knows about fighting, he knows about Godzilla. Now you're like, damn, now he knows about Marvel. Now we both know about Marvel, so we'll take a small little deep dive into how we met, how we got like even more closer as friends, family friends with Marvel, man. And I'll let you take it away from there, man. Like, what were your favorite comics? What you enjoyed, and then we'll start from there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the comics is pretty widespread, and I fell in love with Spider-Man when I was a kid, and it kind of drew me more into the Marvel universe. And then I latched onto the X-Men. Like all through the '80s, I was an
Hmm.
X-Men fan. I just thought X-Men was the coolest kind of collaboration of different superheroes and freaks and things like that. Um, and I always thought I knew a good deal about Marvel, but I kind of knew about the things that I liked in Marvel, and that was until I met you, and that's kind of what kind of sparked off another tangent in our friendship was that
Hmm.
talking to you about Marvel, I was like, wait, hold, oh, does Daniel know more about Marvel than me? And I'm like, I think he does. And then I came over to your house, and then you broke out all the different volumes that you had kept, and I know Thor was always one of your favorite characters. And then you were like, have you got a load of Better Ray Bill? And I was like, I
Yes,
knew about him.
yes.
I knew about him, but I never really, yeah, there, see, and
You
I
ain't got
never
it
really
yet, too.
went that far in, but until you started showing me, and then I was like, "Oh, this dude's cool too." And I'm like, "Oh," and then I went down the path of Better Ray Bill and started looking at his storylines and things like
Hmm.
that. And yeah, so it was fun. I mean, I remember you just like you knew stats, you knew things that I just didn't know about. I knew like the lore of the characters, but I didn't know stats and things like that. I just knew what I liked about these particular characters. But you knew what you liked, but also had all this crazy detail in your brain. I was like, all right, Daniel's got me on this one. Maybe I can hang with him talking about Spider-Man, but outside of that, I'm gonna get lost. And although I've delved down into other storylines more than I have in the past, and it's partially because you had such a passion for all these different characters. I was like, let me try that. Let me check this out and check this person out and check that character line out and things like that. Like I remember when I talked to you, I told you I don't really like Thor. I'm not really a Thor fan, and
Yeah,
you're like, oh no, you gotta look at Thor a different way. And then I was like, okay, and so I did, and yeah, so now Thor is more higher up on my list than he's ever been before. But and that was partially because of your like passion for these characters. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So and I like anything comics really. I mean, I'll look at DC stuff too, but kind of Marvel's my home. I guess what I like about Marvel is the flawed characters. Like they're not perfect,
yeah,
and that's what I like about it because it causes all this other contention and drama with other characters because they're flawed too. And yeah, that's what I really kind of sucked me into it. And X-Men is the big one. I know they're going to try and come out with another X-Men run. I just hope they do a good job. I really want that. So but again, since Endgame, as far as Marvel Cinematic Universe, there it is. There you go. There you go, one of my faves.
yep,
But yeah,
yep,
uh, I feel like Marvel's lost a step in the cinematic universe since Endgame, and I kinda predicted that was gonna happen, but, um, we'll see. I mean, I have some hopes for some of these new franchises coming up. I don't know about Doomsday.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm keeping myself away from it, and I'm not looking at anything because when I do go to see it, I do wanna see it fresh and see how I like it, and with the first viewing. Um, but my thoughts about it is, like, I'm not getting my hopes up. I have a feeling they might
skeptical,
tank
skeptical.
that and I'd really be disappointed if they do, but, um, I'm not sure Marvel has that magic still.
Yeah,
So we'll
yeah,
see, because I feel like if Doomsday doesn't do well, X-Men's gonna have a hard time getting off the ground, and that really bums me out. Because if there's gonna be a new cinematic run of Marvel characters, I'd like it to be X-Men, but, I don't know they will if it tanks or doesn't get accepted well, so again, I'm not getting my hopes up because I don't wanna, feel like something's coming and then it just never arrives, so but we'll see how that goes, and yeah, so probably be a Marvel fan till I die. Um, there's always something to like about it in my opinion, so,
Yeah.
and I like
Yeah.
hearing, other some of like these, other YouTube channel, out there that go into detail about, specific volumes and storylines or characters, and I love listening to that stuff. I'll put it on in the background while I'm doing stuff and listen to, like, the history of Secret Wars or something like that, and that's always fun to do. Um, or if you got a long drive, you can, put one of those on, and it's really fun to hear about the details of the storylines and stuff. So, yeah, so I'll probably be a fan for life on that one. But anything sci-fi, anything anime, anything comics, I usually have some kind of interest in it. You know what I mean? So, and I know anime is a big one for you as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, no, absolutely. I mean, they could have gone in. I think they might go into a Secret Wars. I mean, it seems like that's what they're kind of. It seems to me. This is just my opinion,
I agree.
or a
Yeah,
light opinion. They might go into Secret Wars because, I mean, they don't want to say it because they want you to guess it. They want you to think it. They want you to. Oh, what are they going to be doing? Secret Wars. Secret Wars is another great storyline, but I
it's
think
so detailed though, right?
yeah, yeah, but I think Secret Wars happened. It was after the Infinity Gauntlet, I think,
Mhm.
and they're trying to also go with with a lot of modern stuff, like say, they brought Kang the Conqueror in, but then the whole thing happened with the controversy that happened with Jonathan Majors or whatever. So it's like
Yeah.
that kind of derailed the rest of what they had coming up, and then I heard Ant-Man and the Wasp in the Quantum Realm. I heard that was garbage. So
Oh, it's terrible.
yeah, I wouldn't.
It's
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised about that. They could go into a Secret War storyline, but we'll
I
see.
mean, they haven't had a really good one since Endgame, and that's why I'm looking at what's coming up and going, I don't know, do they have the magic to keep pull this out? I mean, if they wanna do Secret Wars, I look at it like, yeah, I get why you wanna do it, but man, you guys gotta take this serious. That's easily as big as Infinity War and Endgame, right? I mean, that's several movies in my opinion if they're going to do it correctly because it's a pretty detailed story. If they're going to give a Secret Wars story that's really watered down, I just I'm not as excited about that. I'm like, all right, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some people that really just like seeing their characters on screen,
Mhm.
and I'm one of those that like I want to see the character, but I want there to be some meat on the bone where it's like, yeah, they went into this, they went into that part of the story, and they gave the detail on this, and then I'm way more invested into the story, but I'm curious to see how they're gonna do it. I don't know, because I feel like Secret Wars is gonna involve a lot of, like, characters or storylines that most people that are not into comics will care about. So, um, they might have to shorten it or water it down to make it palatable for people, but I'm kinda like, I feel like there's enough diehard comic book lovers these days that they could still, I think they're the other thing too is they're worried about the money, right? They wanna make sure they make the $1 billion or whatever, and I don't think that should be the goal. I think tell the story right, and I feel like if you tell that story right, you're gonna make the $1 billion, right?
Mhm.
So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but, I'll watch whatever they put out. I just may not watch it for the first run, but, um, Doomsday, I probably will just because it's such a big deal, at least for Marvel at this point. So, but we'll see. I mean, if that one kind of sucks, I think that tells us where it's going to head in the future, which we'll have to see. So
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's not that I haven't lost all hope, but Thunderbolts was a decent movie.
that was
One
decent.
one of the decent, well, one of the better movies they've put out, recently. So I was all in for that one. Still kind of campy, but was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And
Yeah.
but that's the only saving grace for me, man, that I've seen that from Marvel. And That would be for us for another freaking, that would be a whole total different conversation for another video, man. Because me and you would never stop talking. Me and you would
Oh
have
my
to,
god,
we would have to get into detail about that one. But yeah,
we could just do a whole show just on like the century
yeah,
or something.
yeah, it had to be like it would be like a week. It would be like a whole week series.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll get back to that one on another discussion. But now we'll get to your history in video games. Before we wrap it up, man.
yeah, cool. Um, well, I mean, I feel like I have the OG story when it comes to video games in the sense that my dad built his first computer in 1978. It was called the Heathkit 8080, and we were the only ones that I in just in my view of it as a kid, we were the only people that had a computer in the house in 1978. I'm sure there were some others, but it was very rare that you would see this.
Yep.
And so I got introduced to computers really early on. And then once the 80s hit, we went into the Atari 800.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I lived on that thing shit for so long. I played so many different. Our dads started getting into bootlegging games
Mm-hmm.
because they were called bulletin boards back in the day. They would find friends that run bulletin boards, and they would have all these bootleg games that you could download. And then me and my childhood friend would get a hold of these things and just play the snot out of these games. And most of these games, like my friends were like, "What are you guys even doing?" You know, we show it to them, and they were like, "Oh my god, where do I get this?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not so easy." In the 80s, video games weren't just sitting on the shelf,
Yeah.
so you kind of had to know and work towards it, especially if you didn't want to pay for them. So, and then yeah, then the computers came along, and so computer gaming started coming on the scene, and I was into doing that. Also started where I started delving more into audio because I could do digital audio on my computer towards the end of the 80s and into the 90s, and then started getting into video cards and sound cards and hardware for computers, and then I started building them, and I would start building them for performance so that I could play these games. And 3DFX came out when we actually had full
Oh.
yeah, actual rendering 3D games, and that was like absolutely blew my mind. And then game consoles came out, and I got into game consoles as well. I've been a PlayStation guy for a while, but these days I'm not into it as much anymore. Just life has taken me away from that pastime. But at some point, I want to get back into it, especially these days too. Gaming's so expensive now, man. That's the thing that upsets me is like back in the day, gaming was not an expensive hobby, and you could still have a crazy awesome time. And these days, it's like, man, you got to spend thousands of dollars now if you want a really decent gaming rig, and it just seems like that to me just seems to defeat the purpose. Um, but we'll see how things go. I'll probably try to find some used parts and build something myself over time instead of just buying what's off the shelf anymore. Because I mean, prices are getting insane. I think PlayStation might be close to $1,000 or something, and I'm just if that's going to be the case, I'll just build some older machine myself and deal with the fact that it's not top notch anymore. But at least I'll be able to play some of these games. You know what I mean? But yeah, as far as gaming goes, like I went through all the different phases. I mean, I was doing role playing games on the computer, and then first shooters on the consoles.
Mhm.
Um, and these days, I'll probably go back to more of the role playing, like Red Dead stuff and GTA stuff. As far as I enjoy that kind of gaming a little more than the run and gun stuff these
Yeah.
days. I feel like once you get through that phase, you don't really need to do run and gun as much as you needed to
Yeah.
back in the day. I mean, I was addicted for a while, where it's just like literally, I remember I had to cold turkey myself on Call of Duty and tell all my online friends to be like, "Sorry, I have to get off because my life is falling apart." Like, I just a laundry, dirty dishes in the sink, and I'm like, I'm literally losing myself. Like here, I'm like doing anything except playing these games. So I had to kind of cold turkey and get off of it. And since then, I've kind of been off of video games for the most part. Played a couple of things here and there, but I do also like the horror genre. I think if I do come back into it, I'm gonna go towards the horror genre. I think they've got so many cool, like especially indie horror games now that
Mhm.
I never had access to back in the day, and some of these are really freaking fun. I love the atmospheres that they create, so, I can see myself going down that path once I rebuild a rig for myself and get back into it, but, what kinda stuff are you doing these days as far as gaming?
Man, like I mean, well, first I just want to say I don't think you ever told me that your dad built his own video game console.
Not a console, it was a computer.
Okay, but
My dad was
I'm sorry. Yeah, he
he
built
was
his. So he built his own computer. Holy crap!
Yeah, because in the '70s, you couldn't just buy a computer. You had to buy it as a kit, and then you had to put it together. So you had to solder the
Oh,
components and put everything on the circuit boards, and then assemble everything, connect all the ribbon cables and all that good stuff. And then you actually had to load in some type of an operating system, which in that case for my dad was DOS. And it did not look like the computer you think of today. It was three large modules, like bigger than a game console, and one of them was just the disk drive. It was about this big, had two floppy disks on the front, and it weighed like 50 pounds. It was so freaking heavy.
oh wow.
Um, and my dad's interest was programming. That's what
Yeah.
he was into games so much. He was more into like programming and getting the computer to do things for him. Where I was more into the video game. I was like, what games can I play? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once we hit the Atari 800, which was basically a full-fledged computer back then,
Mhm.
which my dad would use for programming, but I would use for games. So,
Okay.
and he got mad at me a couple of times because I kind of like overtook the computer with my games, and he was just like, you know what, this isn't working out. You're gonna have to get your own. And so I ended up getting my own Atari 800, so I could, and that was just all focused on games.
Yeah.
It was all
Yeah.
DOS based games and stuff, so you had to be in the command prompt because a lot of these games wouldn't run out of the box. You know, you
Yeah.
would try to
Yeah.
run them and it would
Mhm.
crash, so you had to figure out what's wrong and put in whatever commands you needed to get it to run. And so that kind of got my technical mind going. It just kind of showed me how to troubleshoot things.
Mhm.
And then as I got older, it just kind of snowballed on itself. So, which is why I'm still in technology today because I feel like it's literally all based off of that childhood time when I was gaming and trying to figure things out and stuff. I specifically remember a time, and it was probably the mid '90s, and online gaming wasn't a thing yet,
No.
but
Yeah.
you could do dial up, right? So you could do essentially a peer to peer with your friend using your phone,
Yeah.
and you would
Yeah.
dial up their phone number, and their computer would answer, and then your computers would connect, and you could play a game. But what they didn't have back in the days, there was no chat ability. You couldn't talk to anybody. It was just the game would come. You might have a limited chat within the game, but a lot of the games didn't even have that. So it's
Yeah.
just you didn't have a way to communicate to your friend that you were playing with other than what you were doing and seeing on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they came out with these new modems because you'd have to put a modem card into your computer back in the day
Mhm.
to dial up somebody, and they came out with these new modems called simultaneous voice and data. And what that meant was you could do a voice chat while sending data over the modem. And what that meant is if you launched a game and you had a microphone, you could talk to your friend in the game. And the buddy I was with at the time were like, we have to do this. This
Yep.
sounds so
Yep.
amazing. And of course, we started to do it and nothing worked. It just, you would do what the direction said, and no, none of these things work. And so our troubleshooting hats came into play, and we started looking up on these bulletin boards because there wasn't an internet yet. It was just like bulletin boards and stuff,
Yeah.
and looking up this information, and they were realizing like, oh, they never included any of the modem strings that you needed to put in to make these connections with the outside computer. So we went in and just got a manual of all these different modem commands, and then we just sat on the phone and typed in one at a time these different modem strings and saying, does that work? No. Did this one work? No. Oh, that one partially worked. So let's put that aside because we might have to use that again. And we
Yeah.
just kept going
Yeah.
down the line, and we had this like 20 string modem string to get it to work. But when it did, and I think it was Duke Nukem that we did it in. And once it worked, I basically the game launched, and I came into the main lobby, and I remember I was looking at stuff, and I'm just like, I thought I could hear something over the over my phone line, and I was like, "Hello," and then I heard my buddy go, "Hello," and they were like, "Oh my god, can you hear me?" He's like, "Yes." "You hear me?" I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, we like danced a jig when we were like, "Oh my god, this is working." And we started playing Duke Nukem, and we were having a blast. I mean, we're just joking with each other and killing things and running around and laughing at each other with the goofy things we were doing. Until my dad came in and was like, "How freaking long have you been on the phone?" And I was just like, I don't even know. He was like, "You've been on the phone for like 5 hours. Do you have any idea how the phone bill's gonna be?" Blah, 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 and he just chewed my ass out. And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "I gotta go. I'm in trouble," and I had to hang up on the game. It was one of those things where it's like, we take for granted how easy it is to play
Oh,
online these days, but back then, man, we were occupying the phone line for over 5 hours. No one could call us, no one could call out, and it cost money back in the day to be on the phone that long. It's not like today,
yeah, yeah,
unlimited talk or whatever. No, not then. You had to pay for the minutes all the time. So I got in big trouble. My dad, he did like he when I explained to him what we did, he chilled out because he was like, "You guys figured out how to make that work." And I was like, "Yes, we did." And he's like, "All right, not as mad, but also you can't do that again," kind of a thing. Um, because it was really cool. Because I did have to show him, like, "But just wait a second, Dad." I'm like, "You got to see this." And I brought my friend Ben online, and I'm like, "Hey Ben, say hi." And he said hi, and my dad's like, "Ben," and my dad and him were talking over this game, and my dad was like very impressed. He's like, "You guys figured out how to do this?" We are like, "Yes." It took us like 3 weeks to figure out all these different modem commands. So, so we were happy as heck to see it
yeah,
work, and that kind of launched me into the gaming world. Like after that, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep going with this." Um, so yeah, so gaming is a strong part of my childhood, and obviously still has a lot to do with what I do professionally because, like on that virtual production stage, we are using Unreal Engine to create these backgrounds on the LED wall, and Unreal Engine is a game developing platform, so you develop games in Unreal Engine, and that's essentially what we're doing. We're creating like a gaming background that just gets put up onto this really large LED wall to
yeah,
shoot against with
yeah,
the camera. And the more detailed your backgrounds, the more detailed it looks on camera. So you have to have really powerful gaming machines essentially. So we got four $22,000 gaming workstations to drive that wall. So it's an expensive endeavor because you need that performance, right? I mean, if you're shooting a film and the background jitters just a little bit, the shot's ruined. It's got to be perfect in the background. So that's why you have to spend so much money on the back end with these workstations, so that
yeah,
so you get the performance you need in the moment when you're shooting. Because cinema, it's like you got to get it in that take. If you don't get it, then you don't have the shot. So it's always fun, and it's a challenge to keep that stuff running at a high level so that it always performs for the students and the instructors that are trying to teach this medium to students and stuff. So yeah, gaming became this weird hobby when I was a kid, and it's like part of my professional life now. Even though I don't play the games as much anymore, my knowledge of it is what helps maintain the systems that I'm in charge of. So gaming is a strong part of my history for sure. And I think when I retire, I'll probably become one of these weird old gaming recluses that just plays games all the time, because then I won't have any worries when I'm older. Right now, you know how it is now. We got our responsibilities and we have to do things, and it takes me away from that. But once I don't have those things, I'll probably be right back in the. I want to fully immerse myself in virtual gaming and stuff once I retire. So we'll see.
well, brother, like me, I'm already retired because I had to retire, not of my choice. So, we have my channel to do, just like it's easier to do it now. We don't have to connect modem command. We don't have to connect
Right.
modem commands to speak to each other like this and talk about
Yeah.
and geek out about the stuff we love, man. And this is just one video, my brother. This is just one video, man. Like, the stuff that you're talking about, man, like I'm more immersed as like I'm like I became a student of what you were saying. I'm like, he knows all of this stuff, like modem commands, like 5 hours, and I could just imagine. I could imagine your father's voice. How he would be, "What the hell is wrong with you? 5 hours on the phone?" I was. That's why I was laughing, man. I could just picture how God rest his
I
soul.
bet a lot of kids that grew up in the 80s and 90s had that discussion with their folks about being on the phone line that long.
Yeah, your dad.
So,
I mean, I can picture your dad doing that, man. And it's crazy, but no, man, that's very interesting. Like I was more into like, man, I love talking about where talking. I'm like, okay, keep go on, go on, go on, and I'm like trying to soak it all up. Like, and it's rare that I do that on my own channel where I'm like so immersed in what one of my friends who I knew you were a smart dude, man, but damn, dude, I'm like, wow, dude, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed myself. And people who probably watch my channel, which I am a small channel, will probably be like, wow, this guy knows, you know Savage knows people who are very, very, very intelligent and articulate, and the things you can do, man. And hey, bro, like I said, you get a PS5, man. All you got to do is say, I'll give you my account, man, or my name, my username, dude. We can connect or whatever. Get an Xbox, bro. Xbox is cheaper, but I don't know. You're not an Xbox guy, but
yeah, I mean, we'll see. There's a lot of changes coming up with gaming hardware, and so like there's the new Xbox coming out, there's a new PlayStation coming out. Um, Valve has their stuff, which I was this close of just jumping into the Valve world, but because of all this AI bullshit that's been happening and prices being driven up, I don't know that the Valve stuff is going to be as attractive as it was when I first heard about it. I mean, a Steam machine at like 500-600 bucks, I'm in. I get that in a hot second. But if they're talking about maybe over $1,000 now, it just doesn't work. So hold on a second, I'll be right back.
yeah, no problem.
Sorry about that. I'm watching our family dog, Lady, our family dog, and she's with me right now, but she's old and lost her potty training ability, so I had to go clean some stuff up. Uh-oh, I think I lost audio. Oh,
Okay.
you're muted, Dan. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, lady, man. Oh, man, lady. Oh, I used to babysit her once in a while, and
Yeah, yeah, she's still here. Here, I'm gonna go get her.
I'm glad she's still around. Oh, hold on, Odie. Sorry, Odie.
There she
Hi,
is.
lady. Hi,
She's still
lady. I miss you, mamas. Oh my
it's
god,
Daniel. Little Daniel.
I didn't know you still had her. Oh my
Dude,
god, man,
this
that's
dog is gonna be 21 years old. Can you believe it?
holy wow, man.
She is hung in there. This is the oldest dog that I've known. So
Oh my god, man.
she's got her little issues here and there. She doesn't see as good anymore. She doesn't hear very good anymore, and
Oh, God bless.
she's getting the doggy dementia, but she's still in the game. She's like not in pain. She moves around and stuff like that. So it's like kind of
That
amazing that she's still
that
around. But I
that
mean, you knew her from when we first moved down in El
yeah.
Paso. So
Yeah, like I used to babysit her because your dad had made your mom and dad made a your dad made a doggy door for her,
yeah,
and
that's right.
sometimes when they would go somewhere, if they had to go somewhere where they can manage on their own, um, they would say, "Well, you know what? We're gonna leave Lady out. Can you just watch the room?" But that was before my dad put the wooden fence,
Yeah, yeah.
and
She would try to get out. Yeah,
yeah,
she would get
yeah,
out sometimes.
yeah, and I
Mhm.
would babysit her, and sometimes Robert would bring her over, and she would play with my dogs. Remember Marcus and
Yeah,
Max,
yeah.
the Pomeranian
Mhm.
and the Dachshund? Yeah, man. Like I'm dude. That you know what, man? That really like made my day, man. And she's still there, man. I'm
Yeah,
so
she's still
glad.
kicking it. Full
I'm
blast
so
from the
glad, man.
past.
That's if a dog lives so 21, man. That's nothing but love, man. You and your family, man. That's love, man. Thank you for showing her to me, man. That really like that
Yeah, of
really
course.
touches my heart, man. I'm so glad she's still there. God bless your mom. God bless lady. Oh my God, that really made my day, man. And
Yeah, that's cool. It is a blast from the past. I mean that was our history when we were down in El Paso, right? So,
yeah, she was always
um,
there. Every time I came in, man, when I went to your dad's house, she was always there, and I would pick her up, and she would always be on my lap and sit on my lap. And yeah, man, I'm so glad she's there. God, thank God, man. And
mhm.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
so good, man. But yeah, just to so we can wrap it up a little bit, man. Since it's because I got to get somewhere. I hate to
that
but we're gonna do this again, definitely, man. But to wrap it all up, man, video games, you got the mind for it, man. Me, as far as video games, I'm back in the game, but it's like you said, the games are just so outrageously, ridiculously expensive now. And if I do buy a game, man, I'm just looking forward to Castlevania Belmont's Curse, which is
okay.
gladly
Yeah.
that one's only going to be $49. And then there's a new one called there's a few called, but I put my a pre-order on this one. I don't know if you heard it. It's called Beast of Reincarnation for the
Mm,
PlayStation 5, and
okay.
that one looks really good. And then there's a few other ones. There's Chrono Odyssey, and then there was another one they just opened up. I forgot what it was called, but those are the ones I'm just focusing on right now. But I'm more into the retro, so I'm getting back into playing like retro ones like Bayonetta, Mass Effect, maybe Dragon Age. But
Well,
so far,
that's kind of part of the issue, right? Some of these new games coming out, they're like not fully developed and they have all these bugs, and some of them are not even playable. Like when Cyberpunk first came out, Ray wasn't even really playable. It was a
oh,
total
but
mess. And so you have to sit there and wait for them to figure out how to make it work right. And you're like, what the hell? I paid all this money. Like, shouldn't it just work? So, but yeah, the older games, they worked great out of the box. You know what I mean? So, in some ways, yeah, I can see it being uh, 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 more fun playing in older games these days in some ways. So,
but
um,
the patches when they put the patches on the Cyberpunk, like I told you, I
that changed
yeah,
everything.
I bought the Cyberpunk 2 or 3 months ago. 3 months ago, man. It was on sale for cheap for like $14, man. I was hooked to that game, man, and that reawakened the Cyberpunk love in my soul, man. And once I had first saw the Cyberpunk series on Netflix, which is Edge Runners, and that kickstarted. It's okay. There's a Cyberpunk game. I heard about it. Oh, it had Keanu Reeves. Now I remember. I bought it, man. I put about 80, 90 hours into it, man. But this was a span of 3 months, man, and I finished it. And I'm actually thinking about doing another playthrough, because I just liked it so much. But I'm the type of guy
Mhm.
more like, man, if it's a long playthrough, 90 hours, do I really want to do another 80 and 90 hours? It's like, plus, but there's, like I said, the games, I do it more, man, for nostalgia and playing the old school retro games. And
Yeah,
I just did an
totally.
upload of Okami Amaterasu, and what I say before we wrap it up, I will say this, man. I do not like the fact that when I'm playing live, trying to show my gameplay, they when it gets to a certain ending, man, I guess it's restrictions that PlayStation says, well, we have to block this because it's copyrighted material and it's an ending, and I'm like, I paid for the freaking game. I'm playing it on my PlayStation that I paid for, and you're telling me that I can still not show I cannot show my own gameplay.
Yeah,
So now what I'm gonna do? I bought an emulator. I bought a video game, not an emulator, but I bought a connection box that I can connect to my laptop, and I can actually play it, record it, and then
got it.
upload it with no problem. And they'll probably say, oh well, they can't do anything about it because they're like, oh, we can't do anything about it. He recorded it already. He's gonna upload it. That's what I want to do, just to put it in their fucking face. But
Yeah,
again, I'm like,
I
is it?
know what you
Yeah, but then again, is it worth it? Is it worth me getting a copyright strike or some shit? I'm not even monetized. I'm not even monetized, but it's just you love these games. I love those games that bring you nostalgia. Like I remember the old NES Nintendo game, a Godzilla game, the Godzilla Monster of Monsters. Like
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
played
yeah.
I played the hell out of that game, but No,
Yeah,
man. But besides that, like I said, to wrap it up, man, we will do this again, man. We there's so much more we could talk about, and now that you have a platform, which is my platform, and you don't have to worry because I'm more of an underground channel, and where I only have about 273 subscribers, man. So you don't got to worry about a lot of people watching. But I do this because of this, man, because I can interact with friends that I've known for almost 20 years. You're, like I said, your family I'm very close to. You're very great family. My family loves your family very much, and you guys mean a lot to us. And we'll do this again. And you have a platform where you can be like, man, you know what? It was really cool doing this on Daniel's channel, man. I feel more comfortable. Let's talk more. Let's do another one. Plan it down the line, and we'll talk more stuff, more geek stuff, man. And that's what I like about it. You don't have to go through so many codes and modems to talk to somebody anymore. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm happy for you in that sense. I know when you first mentioned you were starting this channel, and I was like, that's like a perfect fit for you because you have a lot of passion and energy in all of these different subjects, and I think that it's a gateway for you to share it with people, and you're always fun to talk with on this stuff because you just have a deep interest in these things, and so yeah, it's fun talking with you, and I'm glad you have your community here that you're building. I feel like it's exactly what you should be doing in many ways.
yeah, man.
So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man. Like I said, so for somebody like me who's already physically impaired, not because I wanted to, but because I I push my body so hard that I have to find other avenues of stimulation and keep my mind going, keep active in a form, even if it's not always physical, but it's mental. And I'm pretty savvy. You could say, I kind of say I'm not as nowhere near as savvy as you, but I'm savvy around computer hardware and software, man. So it's like it's good that I'm able to express and bring your knowledge, someone with your knowledge of what you do for a living, to share it on my channel. And if people decide to watch it who are subscribed to me, then it's they can always watch it. You ain't got to worry about me being so huge and all of this. Like, I like being underground, man. You consider like I'm underground channel, but of course, man, I will have you on again, man. We will definitely talk about something. I'll bring you on. We'll even do maybe a few film reviews, and just to keep our minds stimulated, get your mind off of work sometimes, and taking care of lady and taking care of your of Keo. And aside that, man, again, everybody who was watching, this is my great friend who I love, man, Rob Z. And I'm gonna bring him. I'm gonna bring him on again. We'll talk more fighting. We can talk more UFC. We know the thing about me and him is that we know multiple things. We're not just one dimensional. We're open minded. So we know a lot about everything, and that's the whole point of me bringing on people who I connect with, and we can talk about what we love. And if people want to watch and people want to take into what we talk about or the knowledge or what we spit, you know, you're more than welcome, man. But Rob Z, brother, God bless you and your family, man. We will do this again. Say hi to everyone. Give everyone my best. Give lady a big hug. Give your mom a big hug, man. And we will do this again. And remember, everyone who is watching, we are the Sci-Fi Society. And in my last video, you guys will already know what I got coming up. And but besides that, man, it's always an honor and a privilege to talk with you, my brother Rob Z, man. Everyone who is
Thank you as well,
watching, we hope you all have a good rest of your weekend. And keep an eye out for my channel. I got other stuff coming. I got something else I got to do tomorrow too with another friend with Jose Bertrand. But besides all that, we hope you all have a great weekend. We are the Sci-Fi Society. Real talk, real opinions, real people. And we are out, everyone.
Thank you, Daniel. Love you, brother.
Love you too, brother.
Ryu Hayabusa.
Open fire. Fire wouldn't hurt me.
Get out of the way, Samuel. You will be dead. Not hurt, too.